Hi, everyone. Kathy Richards, registered dietitian from Intuitive Eating, Intuitive Living RD, hopping on for a new podcast episode. Today, we're talking about a really important topic that I know many of you have questions about: how to eat when you're taking a GLP-1 medication like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro. I've had clients, come on to calls recently through some of the various clinics where I do practice, and that is their main question, like how should I be eating? Is there a GLP-1 diet? So I thought it would be helpful to record this episode to answer some of your questions and help you see how taking the medication actually means that we need to focus more on nourishment. So for those of you who don't know me, I help women in midlife learn how to listen to their bodies through intuitive eating. And what that means is actually looking at nourishment, learning how to listen to their bodies, um, just learn how to live in their body and nourish the body that they're in. But in my practice, in a few different clinics, I do see patients that come to me as part of an obesity program that the family health team where I work at offers, and coming to me privately taking these medications too. So these medications have become incredibly common, and for good reason. They can be a helpful tool in regulating blood sugar and helping support weight loss. But what you eat while you're on them makes a big difference in how you feel, how your body functions, and how sustainable your results or your weight change really are. So let's break it down in a super practical way to help you understand. So, number one, how do GLP-1 medications work? GLP-1 stands for glucagon like peptide 1. It's a hormone that your body already makes that helps regulate blood sugar and appetite. When you take a GLP-1 medication, it helps your body release insulin more effectively. It slows down how fast food leaves your stomach and reduces appetite so that you feel full longer and you tend to eat less. That's part of why these medications can help with weight loss, but it also means that when you do eat, your food choices really matter. And what do I mean by that? It was interesting in a recent local dietitians meeting that I chair, someone on the call brought up the fact that they were doing nutrition counseling training for clients on GLP-1s. And I'm actually taking that course as well. And what she brought forward from her reflection on the training that she'd already gone under was that it's really focusing on nourishment. We really need to make sure that we're getting enough nutrients when we're eating less. And I read some research last week that said people that are on GLP-1s consume up to 39% less food. So that just again highlights that we need to make sure that food that we're picking is really giving us the nourishment, the nutrients, the balance that we need. So why is nutrient density so important? Because you're eating less overall, every bite counts, right? So think of your meals as nutrient investments. You have fewer chances in a day to get everything your body needs, so the quality of your food matters even more. And this is something I often bring up with my clients that are doing intermittent fasting as part of a protocol. Again, as soon as we reduce the number of opportunities that we have to take in fiber and to take in protein, we're often reducing our intake of those essential amino acids and those nutrients. So you want to think about your meals as nutrient investments. If you're not paying attention to that, it's easy to run into things like muscle loss, fatigue, constipation, nutrient deficiencies. So the goal is to make sure that every meal and snack delivers value. So we want to think about how we're getting protein, how we're getting fiber, vitamins, minerals, and not just calories. Okay. So, when I think about protein, for most people, I would aim to get about 30 grams of protein at a meal. So that could be an easy way to look at it. You can use, ChatGPT. You can find lots of meal plans for GPL1, GLP-1 medications online as well. But you want to think about every meal having protein, and I would aim to get 8 to 10 grams of fiber at each meal as well. Then we want to think about hydration as well, because if we're increasing fiber, we need to think about hydration, but I'll come back to that. So, how to eat while you're taking a GLP-1. Number one, prioritize protein. So, make sure there's a source of protein at every meal and snack. So, again, I would think about 30 grams of protein. What does that look like? Well, it might look like, size of protein, the portion of the palm of your hand. It might look like, protein portion the size of a cell phone. It might look like, a cup of Greek yogurt and then adding some other nuts and seeds to bump up protein. It might look like protein powder, but you want to get about 30 grams of protein. So think about eggs, Greek yogurt, chicken, fish, beans, tofu. Those are all good sources. And it's because we want to make sure we're not losing muscle. So protein helps maintain your muscle mass and also keeps your metabolism strong, and it supports those long-term results, right? Protein's important for satiety. And if you're a woman over 45, protein becomes even more important as we age. So number one, prioritize protein. Number two, focus on fiber. So because digestion slows down with the GLP-1s, constipation is a common side effect. So I'll have a lot of clients come to me with constipation. Some of them are taking, Restoralax or Clearlax, so a PEG supplement to help with bowel movements, and some people have to take that long term. That's okay. We also want to look at fiber in food, fruits and vegetables, berries. I get people to add chia seed, up to 2 tablespoons a day, flaxseed up to 2 tablespoons a day. Think about, whole grains that have more fiber. Think about things like lentils. All bran buds are an easy way to get 11 grams of fiber in a third of a cup. They also have the psyllium fiber, which is the best fiber to help lower cholesterol. So those are all ways to bump up fiber. But remember, fiber and fluid work together. So if we increase fiber, but we don't take enough fluid, that can actually constipate more, especially if you're playing with psyllium fiber, which we might find in Metamucil or all bran buds, or you can use it in bulk as well. But you've got to have enough fluid on board. So for the average, female, I would recommend 2.5, 2.7 liters of total fluid. Count all your things: coffee, tea, water, make it easy. And for the average male, I would think about 3 liters of fluid total. If you're constipated, another little trick could be adding in some whole flaxseed into your diet. We're not going to chew it and get those healthy omega-3 fatty acids, but whole flaxseed can act like a laxative. So a tablespoon of whole flaxseed can be a way to get things moving as well. It's those omega-3 fatty acids. Thinking about, having extra virgin olive oil or nuts every day, having more healthy fats, it's good for inflammation, but it can also help with bowel movements as well. You want to think when you're on a GLP-1 about eating smaller, balanced meals. So because your stomach empties more slowly, large meals are probably going to make you feel overfull, make you feel nauseated, but you still want to think about a balanced meal where you're getting some healthy fat, some protein, and some source of carbohydrate with fiber, right? And if you need some examples, I'll put it in the show notes below. My grab and go lunch guide, which will give you some examples. So if you try smaller meals or snacks more often, I would try to eat every 3 to 4 hours. Think about like 4 to 5 meals instead of 2 to 3 big meals. And each one, again, should have protein, healthy fats, and fiber-rich carbohydrates. We also want to take the opportunity to eat mindfully. So slow down, chew your food well. I mean, the medication's going to make you feel full. And I've had lots of clients that describe it, like they're going to take their next bite and then suddenly that's it, they're full. They can't consume any more food. So in a way, the medication is giving you that fullness feedback. but you can kind of practice with listening to your body. I mean, medication is going to make it hard to hear regular hunger cues because it's slowing everything down, but it can help you when you get full to give you that feedback. Because our nutrient intake is lower, if we're on a GLP-1 medication, I would really recommend that you do limit processed foods because we don't want to eat things that aren't giving a lot of nutrient density. Again, we want to make sure we get that protein, want to make sure we get that fiber, and we want to get antioxidants from fruits and vegetables, right? So we want to have a combination of things across the day, and trying to balance that out while we're adding in extra, ultra processed foods isn't going to be ideal. So, the bottom line, GLP-1 medications can be really supportive tools, but food is still the foundation of health, right? So, think about a high fiber diet. High, fiber vegetables and fruits have lots of antioxidants, reduces risk of cancer. High fiber also reduces risk of cancer. High fiber also reduces, visceral fat, which we know is linked to, more health conditions negatively as well. So these medications that people are taking, it does help quiet the noise around appetite and cravings so that you can kind of learn how to fuel yourself in this balanced way more consistently. But it comes back to nourishment and making sure that when we're making those choices, that we're thinking about how we're getting adequate nourishment. And I'm not saying that you're never going to have cake or you're never going to, eat something that maybe isn't high, nutrient density, but we want those to be the outliers. So we're sure that we're getting the protein, the calcium, the fiber, all the things that are going to be important for our health long term. You don't want to lose muscle. We want to have energy. We want to have digestion. And we don't want to lose a lot of muscle in that weight loss. So, having adequate protein, incorporating some strength training, those are all things that hopefully your healthcare practitioner who's following you while you're on a GLP-1 medication has recommended as well. So, remember when you're on a GLP-1, you're eating less. So, let's make every bite count. And if this episode was helpful, can you share it with someone that's on a GLP-1 medication or thinking about starting one so they have these ideas in their mind, right? And it's not just about eating less, it's about actually making sure that we are taking enough nourishment to support the body. If you need one-on-one nutrition support, you can look below in the show notes. There's a link there where you can access my private services. And if you see me at the Family Health Team, you can access my services there. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.